My second ever rank 4 champion. You might have already known this. It's Arcade. Arcade is my favorite champion in the game. You can probably tell by my channel's profile pic being a customized Arcade profile pic. I've only had 3 profile pics on this channel. One was the goofy Brian Grant with a wig picture that I used before I realized, hey, I'm gonna like be my own YouTuber rather than just trying to catch attention due to someone else's face. And then I was the Captain Britain profile pic when that was like the main champion that I would play for my content, when I was able to use her to destroy a bunch of crap in the game. And now that is transitioning from Captain Britain into Arcade. I changed it at the beginning of the year, and this champion means a lot to me. He's so cool. I swear. I know about Arcade as a character in comics and stuff, but like the moment that they revealed like his animations and they was releasing the MCoC, I saw it on X and I was like, oh my goodness, bro. I have to get him. Like, he looks so goofy, he looks so wacky, so ridiculous. I just have to play this champ. And it turned out that's just like, he was the first champion that I ever purchased with actual money, and it was so worth it. Like, I played the 6-star for so much, and today we've graduated content-wise to the 7-star rank 4. I have played the 7-star rank 4 for a while now. I have a couple videos of him at rank 4 on the channel already, but this is the showcase. This is where everything gets put together. This is rank 4 Arcade. So yeah, I have a lot of content in this video, a lot of cool things I want to show you guys, starting with Realm of Legends Winter Soldier. Basic Arcade rotation. We don't always stick to this. In this rotation, I do use SP2s exclusively. Some fights I'm going to use SP1s exclusively. Some fights I'm going to use SP1 and SP2. There are many different ways to play Arcade, and if you are trying to focus on just doing poison damage, you're going to want to use SP1. If you are trying to focus on damage in all forms of debuffs and you aren't as concerned about poison, you're going to be using SP2s. So at this point, we're going to do a BGs fight against this rank 3 Sig 200 Domino. This is the only BGs fight I have, as Arcade, let's be real, he's not like the craziest attacker out there. He's not meant to be. He is meant to be a defender, and a defender he is. Because after he got buffed, he is much stronger on defense. He is the most banned champ on my account by far, which, okay, look, he's a rank 4. He's a rank 4 that is primarily a defender. That's going to get banned a lot. That's what most people are going to ban. However, it's still the most banned champ on my account, and I feel like I have a lot more threatening defenders at rank 3, such as like Serpent or Onslaught, stuff like that. Which, anyway, it still means something. It means that like people are still worried about tripping up against this guy, because it is entirely possible to trip up against Arcade, and you will get destroyed if you do. So that's still like a cool fight though. That's still 48 seconds with near full health against Domino, who is Sig 200. We didn't take any crit fail that fight. Like, he is reliable against Domino, which is always good in a tech attacker with how oppressive Domino is. So now we're going to do some Alliance War fights. A lot of this is going to be Alliance War in season and off season. I will make sure to call out which is which, because in season I will be boosting, so the damage is going to be a little bit higher than normal, but that's just because it's Alliance War. Of course I'm going to boost when I'm playing high tier. So if you have a problem with that, I don't really know what to tell you. And yeah, so this is boosted Arcade, which it's not like max boost or anything. I don't usually run max boost on my path fights, but it is a little bit extra attack rating. And the reason I'm showing you this fight, as it's already almost over, is the fact that Arcade has a pre-fight that doubles his own ability accuracy. And that means that the Tranquilize from that node is not going to affect us. We are just going to bypass it because we have extra ability accuracy and we are applying debuffs naturally anyway. So really cool utility piece Arcade has. And for this fight, it is Hazard Shift Incinerate Shock Weapon X. And one of Arcade's strong suits are his immunities. He can have a combination of poison, Incinerate, and Shock, depending what pre-fights you use, depending on how many tokens you gain. So yeah, over the course of the quest, you're going to have arcade tokens that will go from your fight to your persistent charges. Every 2 tokens you have at the end of the fight become persistent charges, and then your pre-fights cost a specific amount. So there was just me skill issuing. Got hit a good bit by Weapon X, but that's the only mistake I make in this fight. And here, this is a really cool thing that he does. When you charge a heavy attack and you have at least 2 tokens, you will always auto-block, and if your arcade is awakened, he is going to gain a steadfast. So we were able to auto-block and resist the unblockable attack because of the steadfast, which is just super good against Weapon X. It means that we have a good bit of time where we can just parry him. You can also drop your SP1s into the opponent's block reasonably often, depending on spacing, and he won't get punished by it. And I'm bringing this up because this is a legitimate strategy that I use against some opponents, and you're going to see that strategy be used later in the video, where I intentionally drop special ones into block. So here I charge my heavy attack so I can get my steadfast, so I can just block him freely for a little bit more safety, and that is fine. The arcade tokens, it is worth noting, are increasing the damage of your DOT. However, you get them back so fast, if you can get the opponent in the corner, just keep getting poisoned and stuff, that it's like whatever if you lose out on some of that damage. And that was like not the quickest fight ever, but also I feel like I just kind of messed up a little bit. Like, I didn't really get the opponent in the corner early on like I should have. So getting arcade's opponents in the corner is what's really making your damage go super high. And that was just something I wasn't able to do until the end of the fight, so I extended it a lot. But also, it's just so much safety being double immune and having that steadfast. Like, I use arcade for Weapon X in war all the time. Now he's on my war defense, but he might not always stay that way. We'll see. Checking him back for attack. So this is an off-season fight. This is against Node 15 Domino, and this is a legitimately good placement. Like, okay, it's a legitimately often placement. I'd say it's a good placement as well. But we see this placement all the time. Domino on Node 15. Weapon X is also on 43 a good bit. So yeah, like, these are actually things that you might want to send an arcade to, because like, he does the job decently well. Is he the best option? Maybe not. I'm not going to say that he is, because I'm going to be open and honest with you about my favorite champions, because they're not always going to be the most busted champs in the game, and arcade clearly is not that, but he can do cool things, and that's the point of this video. So yeah, the danger in this fight is Domino shooting red because of the amount of bleeds that you're placing on her, and the fact that arcade doesn't have to hit the opponent too much to do a bunch of damage is what makes this fight really well, because the less you actually hit, the less times you're going to be placing bleeds, the less power Domino's going to gain. And you're just really safe. Like, the way you die in this fight is by Domino going to a special 3, and if she can't go to a special 3, it's like very unlikely that you're going to die because of arcade's auto block being so strong, and you're never getting crit failed. So yeah, inequity makes this fight last forever. That's just like any champ taking this node. The fight lasts a long time because your attack's getting reduced by like 36%, but it is still cool. That was an off-season war fight, by the way. This is in-season. So this is with some boost activated. I'm using my first pre-fight here, only for if I'm in Assassin's range. Like, this war that I'm taking this clip from was a one-fight war with arcade, so I just had a free token, a free pre-fight to use, and I chose that one because it's just, if I somehow get into Assassin's range, then that's going to help me against that. Literally does nothing else. It's just like a little safety precaution. Because yeah, against Weapon X, you don't need any of the pre-fights unless you're fighting him on Hazard Shift, of course, in which then use pre-fights according to which DOT you need immunity to. So yeah, this is again Node 30. This is Safeguard and Combat Deja Vu Disintegration. Arcade doesn't really care about these. Yeah, we're just gonna be trying to alternate attacks as well as I can. And here, I could have literally, I didn't need to throw the relic. I would have auto blocked. So that was a waste. I should have saved my relic, because that's a good way of getting the opponent in the corner. Speaking of relics, always use Green Goblin on Arcade if you plan on using him for attack. It is by far the best relic for him, as it increases damage over time potency and gives you a power efficiency, which is always nice. All of the other relics in the tech class are either targeted at a specific damage over time or heal block, and Arcade doesn't really do that. So Green Goblin just being generic, like here's all of the DOT rather than Incinerate or Shock, is really synergetic with Arcade, because he does Poison, he does Incinerate, he does Bleed, he does Shock, he does Rupture if you go to the SP3, which you're never going to be doing, but it is a thing. So now we're going to be fighting Iron Man Infinity War on node 43. This is also off-season war, so I do have a 15% attack boost active, which is only because it was going to expire, because those were given out like candy during the old Daily Super event, and they still are, just now you can pick a health one if you want. So I just threw it on because I could. And yeah, we're going to activate the Incinerate and Shock pre-fights, which are just going to give me full immunity to Hazard Shift, so it's basically a duel versus Iron Man Infinity War. And it has aggression prowess. Arcade is low-key actually good for Iron Man Infinity War, though. The reason for that is because you are using a bunch of red numbers, and red numbers are the best way to fight Infinity Man because of how tanky he is with his armors. And he also can go Bleed immune, Cold Snap immune. That's fine. Arcade doesn't really place those. He places Bleed on the SP2, but we aren't forced to go there. We don't have to drop SP2s, so I'm just going to be spamming special ones in this fight, and then the poisons are just going to rip him apart. And another thing that makes Arcade really good for Iron Man Infinity War is that every time he throws a special, he pushes himself backwards, so he's going back into that cloud and just getting poisons on him while he is in the special animation, which is super awesome. I love when some champs are just getting poisoned during the special animation from Arcade. Other ones like Dr. Doom and Onslaught are champs that this applies to as well, who I will be taking later in this video. So yeah, at this point we're in the final phase, but again, he gets so many armors, but it doesn't matter because all the damage is in poison, and he just dies from that poison damage. This is a fun one. This is maybe my favorite fight in the video. This is node 43 Onslaught. Obviously taking this with Arcade, but the cool thing about this fight is the fact that it works. Like, I don't know, man. It's just so cool. I tried this in season and I didn't have a great playstyle for it, and then I tried it in the off season and it went so much better. But cool things about Arcade versus Onslaught here. Once we get Onslaught in the corner, he's just going to be kind of like stuck there, and we are also dropping specials into blocks, so Onslaught can't Neuro Shock you through the block, meaning that we are getting a lot less Neuros on us, and he's also not metal, so I can dash back to get rid of them easily. So Arcade is low-key like decent for Onslaught, because the only way that this fight can go wrong is if you drop a special 1 or a special 2 and hit Onslaught with it, because then you're just going to have a big shock on him and it's going to be a lot of Neuro Shock damage, which is not good. However, if you do auto block, it's okay, because yes, you do place a shock from the auto block, but after Arcade's buff, the shock went from like 10 seconds to 3 seconds, so that's much less time for Onslaught to be placing Neuros on you. And obviously the auto block is just a good safety net for everything anyway, so it's just really great if you get hit by Onslaught. And look, now he's just in the corner, he's getting poisons on himself, he's getting completely annihilated by these poisons, they're doing so much damage. And then another SP1 to the block, and Onslaught's just gonna go down. Like, he can either choose to dash in and I am able to block fast enough, or he can choose to stay back and just be in that cloud, and yeah, he's just done, man. So it's just a super cool fight. I mean, Arcade with polka dot power is it's a really great node for Arcade. Arcade benefits from it a lot because you're getting so much power during his special animations, which are extremely long, so you're able to take full advantage of it. Okay, now we're gonna fight Domino on the Alliance War Showcase Hazard Shift poison and cold snap. Arcade can only be immune to poison in this fight, but that's all he needs to do, because as I mentioned earlier, Arcade can do a lot of things with only using, like, not that many hits against the opponent. So, like, my heavy attack is only 2 hits, and we are going to be using that exclusively in this fight, other than the special one and stuff. So it's like, if we get some cold snaps on us, that's fine, because we're not, like, 5-hit comboing the opponent and getting, like, 6 on us at once. Because, yeah, he doesn't need to do that. Anyway, we're going to get Domino back in the corner here, and I don't think I slow play this fight at all. I think I just play normally during the cold snap phase and just deal with the debuffs, which is fine. Like, we can afford to do that. And yeah, Domino is just melting at this point. She's in that corner. She's getting all the poisons on her. Evades that. Doesn't matter. I'd auto block if she used a basic, and I can react enough to the special too. So, 1-minute fight. Super cool. Now we're going to be doing some 9.2 content. This has masochism over time. Some other things where it's like you wanted to use a shock. I could not read all the notes that fast. If you want to go back and pause and read them, that might be helpful. But it also had like the fumble node. And dude, I didn't understand what was happening like the entire fight. I'd like try to deck Cyclops' special 1 special 2 every friggin' time. I'm like, how am I messing this up? Like, how the heck am I messing this up? And I didn't realize, oh wait, my dex is turned off. That's why. For like the whole fight. Like, just watch me try to dex there. And I didn't understand what the hell was happening until literally the end of the fight. I'm like, oh wait, I had fumble on me the whole fight. And I knew what fumble did too. It's just like I didn't recognize it was on me. So, anyway, just me being stupid, but it's pretty funny. So, yep, there, try to dex it again, like, it doesn't work. So yeah, we're placing so many shocks on the opponent, which happens every time we poison him, and those shocks are just hitting super hard. Arcade was just so fun for this path. Also, Arnim Zola was so fun for this path. I used him for the first half and Arcade for the second half. Look, the auto block saved us. Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid sometimes. Anyway, now we're gonna go fight Punisher on the node. And so, this is interesting. Punisher, you don't ever fight him a lot, right? But when you do fight him, like, the main annoyance of Punisher is that when you push him SP2, you, like, have to block it, unless you're, like, a god and can dex it all the time. And that usually means you take so much block damage. Well, Arcade is a tank. Like, every time he gains an Arcade token, he's getting a lot of armor rating, and his block proficiency is already super high, and you just end up taking so little damage from the block damage. And I guess it's going to be hard to showcase that, because we are also getting a Bulwark from this node. But trust me, like, Arcade is a tank on block, and he's just a tank in general with armor rating. When Arcade was rank 3, I took a Serpent in Battlegrounds with Arcade. And dude, I ate a SP3 and lost only 25% because of the armor rating. It was like, oh my goodness, bro, this guy has so much armor. Because armor rating actually does prevent SP3 damage. Resistances do not, but armor rating is weird in the fact that it does. So yeah, you can use Arcade's armor rating and tank a bunch of SP3s, and yes, you will take damage from them, but it was like significantly less than normal. And yeah, this Punisher doesn't even trigger his indestructible, which I don't think he can actually trigger if he's like killed with a red number. So that makes sense, I guess. Last up, we're going to be fighting Northstar. I'm not a big fan of fighting Northstar with Arcade, mainly because you can't keep him in the corner very often, just because of the sheer distance he creates with his special attacks. But it was still, like, pretty fun to do on this path. Like, you still make it work, because Arcade was just goated for this path because of the amount of poisons you're placing. So, here I'm going to go for the special 1, push Northstar relatively close to the corner, and then he's going to drop this SP2, which maybe I should have charged heavy and triggered my booby trap, but I didn't, and it's whatever. I'm also going to eat a hit here because I'm just bad. But then I'm going to Relic. The Relic creates a bunch of distance, and we can get him back in the corner. And now I can trigger the booby trap with the stun that keeps him in the cloud, and now we can just do a bunch of poison damage. And he chose to block there, that's fine. I'm gonna heavy attack here, and then he goes for the SP2, but the damage is already done. He got so many poisons and shocks on him, and then we're just gonna push him back in there momentarily with this SP2, and then after the SP2, charge heavy, trigger booby trap, and yeah, he's not in the correct space because the booby trap triggered where Arcade's cane landed. That's fine though. So I'm gonna go for a heavy attack right here, get the cloud back active, and honestly, like, we're still keeping him in the corner relatively often. There's just a lot of distance that's still getting created by his special attacks. So yeah, mild annoyance, but also like, I was still a great fight. So anyway, we move on from that North Star fight to go to this Nightcrawler boss in 9.2. This was a pretty fun one. It has Thunderstruck, so you want to use shocks. It has a Cement Charge, which is gonna, I think, like, root me or something. And then I want to trigger well-timed blocks to place a debuff that is going to counter Nightcrawler's evade. So yeah, it also has like ticking time bomb, which is annoying because you want to use well-timed blocks, but you also are gonna get punished for them at the same time, and it just like kind of tanks the damage. And it's just like Arcade's gonna kill him fast enough to where it's whatever, especially once we get the shocks active. So there I go for a parry, and then I'm gonna go for my heavy right here. He's slowed now. The slow is going to expire pretty soon, so I'm going to need to go for a well-timed block again, which we do right there. And then special one, because I got to keep shocks active in this fight. That's how we're actually dealing damage. And the damage is going to be pretty nice. And it would be better if I didn't mess up. I think that Disorient was screwing with my auto block, and I made a mistake by not activating my first pre-fight, which would have made the Disorient irrelevant. So yeah, I mean, we wouldn't even be having our auto block fail if I activated my first pre-fight, and I just forgot to. That's fine though. And he's evading again. I need to parry, get a counter to that up, and yeah, that would have been an auto block had I activated my pre-fight. So just stupid decision on my part. Just forgot about it. But it's whatever. Like, Nightcrawler's almost dead. He's taking plenty of damage from these shocks and poisons. And yeah, he is going to be wiped out right here. I don't know what the heck I did there with the relic, but he's dead. Alright, so now we are going to go fight the Eternity of Pain Bishop. This is another fight where I'm going to use the tactic of dropping specials into block. And it's good for a lot of champs in the mutant class. Bishop's another one. We showed Onslaught earlier. The only like actual death sentence to be sending Arcade to is Havoc, because you are just going to be doing energy damage whether you like it or not, and Arcade has no way of preventing that damage. So yeah, do not ever use Arcade for Havoc. That is a terrible idea, and you will not like it. But Bishop is fine. Like, we can be Incinerate immune, and we also take basically no damage when we eat this SP3 here that I didn't intend to push him to. And if we dropped a special 2 on the block, then that also would be barely any damage. Because yeah, I would have chose to block it, but anyway, special 2 in the block, it's fine, because it doesn't even matter. You can't counter us fast enough. So good, push him into the corner here again, and now we're going to get the poisons going again. And then he drops his SP2. Well, I was hoping he'd drop his special 2. Then he does, and he's getting poisons even while the SB animation is going on, which is awesome. So special in the block, perfect. And then the Meltdown timer expires on him, which is awesome. And he's just going to continue to take the poison damage, and we are just going to continue to tank Bishop's block damage. And as you can see here, I accidentally triggered the auto block, but also, again, the buff is that buff shortening the duration of that shock on the auto block is so good. Because like instances like Onslaught or Bishop where you accidentally trigger it and you don't want to, that's just so much less damage you're taking against the two of them, because it's now like 3 to 4 times shorter. So yeah, that was a pretty cool fight. And now we have Gauntlet Dr. Doom. we are going to use Arcade's first pre-fight here, which is going to have a significant impact on the fight. That is going to double my ability accuracy, meaning that when Doom glances, my debuffs are going to go through the glance, and the only thing about it is going to be the attack reduction and micro reflect. All of my debuffs are going to stick through, so my special 2, which is what really matters for that, is still going to place incinerates and still going to place bleeds. The poisons themselves, the glance wouldn't affect them because they do not apply from a hit, they apply from the cloud, which is a separate entity. And at that point, I'm not sure if the poisons are subject to ability accuracy at all. It would be something I'd be interested in testing in, like going to fight a Mr. Sinister, getting the special 2 concussion on me, and without the pre-fight, seeing if the poisons would still apply. My guess is that, yes, it is an offensive ability, but it's not tied to ability accuracy because the cloud is doing the thing, not Arcade. But I don't know if that's true or not. It's something I'd like to experiment on. Anyway, yeah, he's going to be pretty cool for this fight. We are going to be using exclusively heavy attacks and special 2s, which is going to minimize a lot of the damage we're taking from micro reflect. I'm going to go for an intercept or 2 to just try to push him to 2 bars every once in a while. And we are going to use some basics also to get him to 2 bars, but other than that, it's like the glance doesn't matter. It's just a little bit of damage that we're taking. We're keeping Doom in his corner. He's getting poisons on himself when he drops special 2 in it. And it's a really nice fight, man. So yeah, I did this when the Gauntlet, for the original Gauntlet, and now that's in the Ordeal, it's the same thing. It's just a lot harder because of the health pools and the attack rating. And Arcade still handles it, which is awesome, because this is actually a fight that I feel like is very roster minimizing. Like, you have very few counters to this guy, and the fact that Arcade works is pretty funny. So I do mess up a little bit at that point, but it's fine. We're gonna go for the SP2 here, place the Incinerate, Bleeds, and get some poisons going via the cloud, and get an intercept there. I love Arcade's light attack for intercepting, just a small little thing that I do appreciate very much. And then he drops the SP2, and is suffering for it by getting poisoned, which is awesome. And then I go for the heavy counter, and then I'm going to go for an SP2 in a second, after I get that stand-up intercept, and then SP2, Buzzsaw, and Flamethrower, all the cool things, and Doom goes down. We didn't have a lot of health left, but, I mean, most champs have very little health at the end of that fight. It is definitely a potion killer. So, okay, last fight of the video is going to be Arcade versus this Weapon X on the Ordeal as well. And yeah, pretty fitting to fight a Weapon X at the end, because him and Domino are definitely the champs I fight with Arcade the most. This is largely just a big Weapon X, however, the best way to counter Weapon X's healing is in 2 ways. 1, flat out heal block, and 2, poison, because the only way to reduce Weapon X's regeneration rate is via poison. You can't use Petrify, you can't use Spectre, you can't do it with like Nefaria's Ionic mode. You can only reduce it with poison, and that is something that Arcade has in spades. So if we are focusing on Weapon X's healing as the threat of something, Arcade is going to bypass it very well. And then, yeah, he's just a good time for Weapon X overall. You saw me use the Steadfast auto block earlier for safe protection during his Berserk mode, and yeah, heavy attack here. He's going to drop a special 1, perfect. We have him in that corner, and he's just going to get some poisons on him. Not necessarily the fastest thing. We have to work to get him in the corner, and once he's there, we have to try to keep him there, which becomes harder during Berserk mode, but still we're going to be doing plenty of damage with poisons, bleeds, and incinerates, as Arcade loves to do. So, yeah, he's stunned now. He's going to go in Berserk again after his SP1 that he's about to throw, but we are doing plenty of damage during that cycle. So here I'm going to get an intercept and try to push him back into the corner, which I believe I'm going to do with the SP1. Actually, I went for heavy attack and steadfast auto block. Love to see it. So SP1 of my own there. Get him in the corner again, and then I'm gonna do the auto block, get the steadfast, and there's an intercept. And here he's out of berserk, meaning I can get him back locked down, which is super cool. So heavy attack. What do you know? We already know the game plan. Knock him back in the corner, gonna trigger the stun, heavy attack, heavy cancel. Nope, I don't even do the heavy cancel, I'll just go for it, which is fine as well. And what do you know, he's gonna go berserk again. But we're doing so much DOT per second that it doesn't even matter. Heavy attack here, and gonna auto block, and that was a little annoying, but it doesn't really matter. And his berserk's about to fall off. Arcade's special one having like such a long animation is actually really beneficial sometimes, and there's another example of it. Another example I mentioned earlier was polka dot power, but having that extremely long animation is super cool sometimes. And yeah, that's just another example of it. So Weapon X is almost dead. I'm gonna go for a special 2 in a moment. Right there, place all of the debuffs, and then I'm just gonna let him die out at that point. And yeah, he goes down, and that's my rank 4 arcade showcase. So much shorter than the Faria one, intentionally shorter. Like, I'm trying to not have all these showcases be like an hour long every time. I think like the length is just a turn off to some people when they see it in their recommends. They're just like, I don't want to spend an hour long on watching this, but I put time codes in the video for you to compensate for it, right? But anyway, I do think that I showed virtually everything I felt like I want to show of my rank 4 arcade. He's not the best attacker. He's not even trying to be. He is just a fun champ to play, and I love him for that. And I encourage you all to give any champion that might not look like the best attacker off the bat a actual shot, because that's what I did for arcade, and I fell in love with him. One of my favorite attackers in the game. It's not just arcade, it's Enchantress, it's other defensive champs that I just love playing on attack as well. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.